Hello and welcome to another episode of Wife for Life podcast. It is season 3, and you are with none other than Michelle McElroy, your relationship specialist, And I am super excited because this week, this month, this podcast, we have none other than Nicky Richardson. Y'all, she is the hardest worker I know. She is a realtor and she is a legacy owner of Priscilla's Soul Food Restaurant. And anybody from Chicago already knows the best soul food you can get in town. Welcome, Nikki.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yay, I'm so happy to have you. Why don't you start off by telling us a little bit about you?
Okay, I am Nicky Richardson. I am a mom of two, married for 18 years. I am a residential and commercial real estate broker with Caremark Realty Group. And I am also on Priscilla's Soul Food along with my parents, one in Hillside, one in Hanover Park.
I love it. Mom of two and married 18, you said years?
Yes, 18 years.
Oh my goodness. I'm looking forward to you giving us some of your relationship tips. So let's get to it.
Okay.
So, one of the things that we talked about is that, recognizing being an introvert or an extrovert in your relationship and how important that is and how helpful it is to know if you and your spouse are different or the same and how you
Mhm.
roll in that. Tell me about your experience in marriage as an extrovert and some of your needs that come along with that.
Okay, well, I'm an extrovert and my husband's an extrovert. So it works well for us. I like to be social. We have friends. We have mutual friends together, couples, other couples that we hang out with, and then we have our individual friends. So it works for us because it helps us to understand each other and it helps us understand what we both need at certain times. For instance, because I'm an extrovert, I'm a wife and a mom, but I'm also an individual who likes to for work, I have to go out and network. And then I have my personal life and friendships where I hang out with my girls, kind of go out to dinner, have girls' nights. And he understands that. So it doesn't pose any issue. He allows me to be who I am as I do the same for him.
I love it. I
Mhm.
love that. First of all, you are a blessed woman because a lot
Thank
of
you.
couples, one spouse is an introvert and the other spouse is an extrovert. And I'm sure you can see how that can pose problems or conflict in the relationship. So
Yes.
you are blessed, first of all, just for
Thank
you
you.
both being
Thank
extroverts.
God.
I know, right? And then
Mhm.
I also love that Adler gets the fact that you like to hang out with your friends.
Mhm.
You know, I have a lot of clients that it's usually flip flop. The husband wants to hang out with his boys, and the wife is like super concerned about that.
Okay.
And so, what would you say to the wife who has a husband who wants to maintain some individuality and hang out with his boys sometimes? What encouraging words would you say to them to help them get over, that hump?
So I would say if that's their situation, that there's nothing wrong with allowing your spouse to be who they are. Understand that that's just who he is. And I feel like the only time, and or if it's not the only time, I feel like a lot of the times when people have issues with their spouse hanging out, I think sometimes trust plays a role in that. Because if your spouse is just going to hang out with friends, sometimes it's okay as long as they're not slacking on the time that they give you and your family. Now, I'm not saying that that's something that you always want to do every day. No, there's no hanging out. I don't hang out every day. But when those times come, and it's time where my husband allows me and he's okay with it for me to go hang out and just get some girls' time, take the mom hat off, take the wife hat off for a little bit, and just kind of be just a woman first. I
Mhm.
feel like it's okay as long as they know the limit. That's not something you can do every day. You still are a married person. You still have other responsibilities and other people that want and need your time. As long as it's not getting out of control and they know how to balance it and when to cut it off, then I don't think there's anything wrong with it. And if it is, if that's really bugging you that your spouse is going to hang out for a little bit sometimes, then you need to see what the deeper problem is. Is there something going on with trust?
Yes, I
Yeah.
love that.
Mhm.
I love that. And I agree. Trust is important when it comes
Absolutely.
to your spouse to hang out with friends. And oftentimes that is a barrier,
Hmm.
and definitely deeper issues may be there as well that, need to be discussed.
Right.
One of the things that you mentioned that I absolutely loved is the teamwork of it all.
Hmm.
I know, just from our previous conversation that one of the things that's beautiful about your relationship with Adler
Hmm.
is due, to his work schedule. There are times when, yeah, he wants to hang out with you, and there are other times where he's like, no. But
Hmm.
the beauty of it all is you guys work as a team, and he picks up where you leave off. So if you're hanging
Right.
out with your friends, he's taking care of the kids,
Hmm.
and I think that's so beautiful and great teamwork. Um,
Yes.
I want to ask you, how important do you feel being a independent woman, not independent in the sense that we don't need our marriage, but just independent in the sense of being an individual and maintaining your individuality?
Mhm.
How important is a social life to you for couples and for marriages, both as an individual and as a couple?
Okay. So let me make sure I understand that question. You're saying how important is it to still have social life
Yeah,
even when you're married?
yep.
Okay. So as married couples, like we have quite a few friends that are married couples and they've been in it a long time like us. And so when to go out and hang out and be able to spend time with these other married couples, it helps your marriage. One, it helps you because you guys get to discuss things that other people are going through. So you know you have shared experiences with them, meaning that you may have a situation where a couple's talking about, girl, this happened, or the husband saying, man, this is what happened, and what's your opinion on this? We ask each other opinions on certain things, and by us having that, it lets us know it could be an issue that or a situation that came up in my household the week before or a month before or somebody else's household, somebody else is talking about it. It lets you know, huh, that's not just me, or it's not just my husband, or it's not just my wife. This just happens. It lets you know that you're not alone in it, and maybe it'll give you clarity to see something that you didn't understand, where you
Yes.
may have thought your spouse was wrong or they handled the situation wrong, and you see somebody else handle it the same way. So it's like, oh, it's not just my wife, so maybe I am wrong. It has you to look at yourself. And so I feel like that's the importance on going out with other couples. It just keeps your marriage uplifted and strengthened. And it's a good time. It keeps us connected. It keeps us having fun. It kind of takes us away from mom and dad and everything being about the kids, where he and I can still go out and hang out with other couples, even when it's just he and I on date nights. But it helps us to reconnect and still enjoy each other after being married 18 years. And not just 18 years, we've been together for 26 years.
Woo.
So yeah, it's a long time, but we're still friends. Still keep that friendship and that fun going.
Hmm.
And now, as far as hanging out individually, it gives us time away just to kind of get away,
Mm.
hang out for a little bit. And sometimes it helps you realize, like, yeah, it's fun being with my friends, but yeah, I'm happy to be married. I choose the married life over just if I had to be out here just an individual or single at all times. It just helps you to appreciate the fact that you can have fun and then still go home and you still got your person, so
Yes, I
yeah.
love that. I love both of the things that you said, the importance of community.
Hmm.
Because oftentimes I find that majority of my clients come to me through the wife, right? A
Okay.
lot of the husbands are not as prone to seek out help if they have issues in their relationship. And what the beauty of community is sometimes you kind of get that help from one another just
Hmm.
through conversations, just
Yeah.
through transparency, just through camaraderie, knowing
Yes.
and understanding that, hey, we're not the only ones that have issues or go through things.
Hmm.
In fact, everybody does. Come on, let's
Yeah.
keep it real. everybody
Yes.
goes through some type of issue, one or another,
Hmm.
and so it's so important to have good, healthy friendships, healthy
Yes.
couple friendships around that you can glean from, that both of you guys can connect and share commonality between you. So I absolutely love the community that you guys have built. And I saw that cute post with the t-shirts. I was like, okay,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I want to be there. Ray, let's get our t-shirt. So
Yeah.
yes, I love stuff like that. I love getting together and building communities of couples. I just think it's very helpful. But
Yeah.
also, I love what you said about sometimes just getting away.
Hmm.
My husband travels a lot, so we get away, and he's done that since we've been married. From when he was playing football and every other weekend, and sometimes 2 weekends he would be in a row, he would be gone, to
Wow.
now he'll go and speak and do all these different things. So we get the idea that sometimes absence makes the heart grow fonder. you know
Yes.
we
Yeah.
get the idea that it builds a greater level of appreciation,
Hmm.
within the marriage,
Yes.
because sometimes even in that community, it helps you build more appreciation for what you have, because you
Yes.
see what's going on over there. And
Yeah.
you like, woo, yeah, thank God that is not me.
Hmm.
And of course, we don't disrespect each other's or our friends' marriages
Right.
or down talk each other's marriages, but it really does internally make you think twice about complaining.
Hmm.
It makes you say, you know what am I thinking? Sure, honey.
Yep.
What do you need? How can I help you? How can I be
Yes.
a blessing? So yeah, I love that. So I also wanted to ask you a little bit, because I know our listeners are going to want to peek inside the Priscilla legacy.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit of background about your parents' marriage, like how long they've been married, how many siblings you have, and
Okay.
tell us how your parents' marriage has influenced how you operate in marriage.
Okay. Well, my parents have been married for 52 years. Mhm.
Woo!
I
Say
know,
that
right?
again. How long?
52 years.
Oh, I want to be like them when I grow up.
Yeah, me too. Me too. So they've been married 52 years. I have three other siblings, an older sister, a younger sister, and a younger brother. And the way my parents' marriage is, even 52 years later, we've always seen them be loving, affectionate, have fun.
I
They're
love
just, even to this day. And my parents, and my mom will be 70 in March, and my dad is 72. So even to this day, they are still flirty. They still laugh, joke, have a good time. I'm not saying they never had times where they bump heads, but it was never like just crazy. No, they always have fun in their marriage, and they're still friends. Like they still hang out together, do things, and of course they do things. Family is a really big thing with us, so we're always together with them, my parents, and they just always keep us encouraged in our marriages, everything. So when I grew up, they just were always loving. I can see the love for them. My dad always was just very affectionate, very loving to my mom. He kept on a pedestal, which set the bar for us for how we want to be in our marriages. So
Mm,
yeah,
I love that.
yeah, me
Okay,
too.
tell me the real now. Tell me the real.
Okay.
Do you go to your mom for marital advice?
What do I? Yes. And she gets on me. So the blessed part about me, my mom
Uh-huh.
has always been a realist. She's not that mom. You have sometimes we have family where it's like, okay, this is my daughter, this is my son. So you just automatically take their side. That is not my mom. And my
Mm.
mom is, if you're my daughter or son, right? Her thing is always right is right and wrong is wrong. And no matter who's doing it. So there's been times where I've been probably being, unreasonable with my husband, and she's gotten on me, and I'm tearing up like, Mom, you don't understand. She's like, I don't care about those tears. You're wrong. Like,
Ooh, I
yeah,
love that.
yeah, there's been times where she didn't got on me. I'm mad. Okay, I'm gonna stay away all day, or I'm staying the night over here because I'm mad. She's like, you don't take your butt home. Like you putting me out.
That's
So
phenomenal. Ooh,
yeah,
man. That's truly a blessing to
yeah,
have your mom be your mentor.
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah, you can't have everybody speak on your marriage, and you can't listen to everybody, because what I've learned is, if you can't give me advice, I can't hear you
Mhm.
if you're telling me something that you're not doing yourself. You
Woo!
can't tell me how my marriage can work and what I should be doing if your marriage is in shambles. It's like I
Mm.
can't listen to what you're saying for listening to what you're doing, watching what you're doing. It's like, yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, you
That's
have to
good.
be really careful on who you take advice from, I believe, in your marriage. You really do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because even though in appearance it may seem like people are for you, that's not always the truth. That's not
Mm-hmm.
always the case. And even if they are for you, sometimes, like you said, in this particular situation, they shouldn't be for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And when I work with couples, I always tell them I don't take sides. The only side I take is the side of the marriage.
Hmm.
We are all about the marriage. If you came expecting me to get on your husband or get on your wife, I'm sorry. We can't
Yeah.
help it. All
Yes.
we are for is for the marriage.
Yes.
So I absolutely love that. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. That is so cool. Okay, so I love that you are a part of this awesome legacy that
Mm-hmm.
probably at this point everybody in Chicago has been to
Yeah.
Priscilla's at least once, right?
I hope so. If they have, they need to get in there.
That's right. That's come on
Yeah.
now. What y'all waiting
Yes.
for?
Right.
I
Exactly.
love it. So tell me about how did Priscilla's even come to pass, and how has your mom included her children and her family into this, what I'm sure everybody would deem a legacy?
Okay. Priscilla's got started. My mom had a daycare. She had a in-home daycare that was very successful. My brother, he's the youngest of the four children, and he was the one that was the surprise baby. So my dad does not like daycare. So when my sister, my there's a 10-year gap between my younger siblings. So we were all in school, and my mom got pregnant with my brother. He's the only boy. He's the golden child because he is the only boy. But so everybody was in school. My mom's like, okay, I'm gonna, because my mom was a stay-at-home mom. I'm gonna get out here and do the career thing and now go to work. My kids are all in school. She got pregnant with him. My dad's like, yeah, we don't do daycare for our children. She's just like, man, pretty much like I just got back out here in the world. So she's like, okay, I'm gonna have him at home, but I'm still gonna open up something. So she opened up an in-home daycare. Very successful. I had an aunt that worked at the post office, and my mom and my dad would always throw gatherings for the family. So she'd take plates back, for lunch, and her coworkers were just like, "Oh, that really looks good. Can I have some? Let me try it. Can your sister, send us plates here?" So my mom started doing it. My aunt is like, "They're asking for your food. Do some dinners, take some lunch orders, and just charge them. Just do it." So my mom's like, okay. So she started out doing it, and it became so big where she's just like, this is a lot. These are a lot of orders. I still have a whole business, and
Wow.
I'm doing this. And so my mom's always been a great cook. Like everybody always loved her food. And so her and my dad had a discussion, and my dad's like, you know what? You should open up a restaurant. You always said that you love to cook. Open up a restaurant. Let everybody, experience how you cook. And
Mm.
so that's how they started. So they picked a location in Hillside, and they opened it up, and it's just been booming ever since day one, thank God. And then we went on to open up a few other stores. So that was 20, I don't want to misspeak. It's either 21 or 22 years ago. I may
Wow.
be off a year, so I think it's maybe 21 years ago. And it's just, that's Priscilla's. That's the legacy she's left. And what she's done for my siblings and I, she opened up the other locations. And we all know, so Priscilla's is all my mother. These are all her mom's and her recipes.
Wow.
So everything that she's made, she's taught us. So we all know how to make everything that's made in any Priscilla's. So that's what
Mm.
she's done for my siblings and I. My brother has his own business, but my sisters and myself, Priscilla's is, yeah, that's she's
Wow.
taught us everything. So we know how to manage it, run the business, do it all pretty much. My mom is really involved in there daily.
Mhm.
She's still the queen. We call her the queen of soul.
That's
She's still the
right.
queen of the restaurant. But yeah,
Mhm.
but she has us, and if she wants to take a vacation, or like she was in Paris last year for 10 days,
Mm.
the store is still going to run well because all three of us know how to do everything. So that's what she's done for us. She's taught us how to
Man,
keep the stores going.
that's so awesome. It's so meaty. Like, it's
Yeah.
several things I want to just talk about there.
Okay.
First of all, um, do you remember how old your mom was when she decided to open the daycare and work?
So let me think. She'll be 70 in March. So when she opened up the daycare, my brother was younger.
Mhm.
So maybe she was 45, maybe
Wow.
42, somewhere up in there.
I love
Definitely between the age of 40 and 45.
Yeah, see, that's phenomenal because, there are still women who have the privilege of being at-home moms and
Mhm.
desire to be an at-home mom. And so I love the fact that her life story shows that you can do both.
Yeah.
You
Yes.
could be an at-home mom, and once your
Mhm.
children get a certain age, then you can launch a business.
Yes.
And we have seasons of life, and sometimes I feel like we as mothers, as wives, we forget that there are seasons to this life.
Mhm.
And we get so caught up, so sad, so down about the fact that you're seeing all these women out here, especially with social media. They're out
Yeah.
here doing this and doing that and building
Mhm.
this and starting that and, doing all these things that sometimes as an at home mom, it can make you feel inadequate or that
Yeah.
you're not doing enough. But I personally think being an at home mom is one of the most hardest jobs you could ever do.
Whew. Yeah.
You're always at home. You're always confronted with things that need to get done at home and with
Mhm.
the needs of your family when you're at home. And I always encourage my clients that are at home wives to even start building their business while they're at home. Take a few
Mhm.
minutes to write down your thoughts, write
Mhm.
down your dreams, and start building that business plan because there will come a season where
Mhm.
you'll be able to act on that. And you don't want
Yes.
to wait until then to get started. You want to utilize the time that you have now, even though it's small, it's just a little bit of time. But even
Right.
15 minutes a day, you can write down your thoughts and really begin the building of something great. So that's the
I
first
agree.
thing. Man, at 40, 45 years old, that's when she started a business. And if Miss or Auntie Priscilla can do it, you
Uh-huh.
can too. You
Yeah.
can do it too. So that's the first thing. The
Yeah.
second thing I love about that story is your mom is a powerhouse. Talk about girl power.
Yes.
OMG. She started this business. She exemplified being an awesome wife and mom before you. And it just makes me want to ask you,
Uh-huh.
how has that impacted your decisions as a wife and mother, watching the model of your mother for all those years?
It impacts me because you watch your parents, so you assume that that's the way relationships work.
Mhm.
So my mom is from the South, so she has a lot of old school Southern ways,
Okay.
and old school. So we're younger, but just seeing the way she handled things, how she handled my father, how she handled the household, it taught me what to do. So it kind of create a picture for me to follow.
Yeah.
And so that's how it impacted me. And it works for me. I think, a lot of things she did right. I mean, in my opinion,
Yeah.
it was the right way to do things, but I don't know any other way.
That's beautiful.
So,
That's beautiful. So when you think of how she was as a mother,
mhm.
how has that influenced how you are as a mother? What are some things, some mannerisms, some ways? I know, there's some, difference between old school and
Oh, yeah.
now. because a lot of women work like yourself,
Mhm.
and the roles and responsibilities were more cut and dry back then because the women did not work. But
Right.
now that things are so different, how are you applying that to your motherhood with your children, and how is that working for you as a working mom and a wife and a mother of two?
Okay, well, because times are different. My mom, like I said, was a stay-at-home mom, so she was in the house a lot of the times or available for us because she wasn't working outside the home. For me, I do work outside the home. I help manage, the restaurants, and then I'm a full-time real estate broker. So I have to service my clients, and I do networking and things like that for my business. So my mom, it was all about mom has the kids and taking care of the kids. My dad did his part, but it was mostly on my mom. For me, my husband has to help. We have to tag team.
Mm,
So there's a difference there for how my parenting is with her. I mean, we still have certain things like, let me give you an example, similarity. I don't allow my kids to sleep outside the home. They
mm,
just can't. They can't sleep outside the home. My mom didn't allow sleep outside the home unless we're with family, her siblings. And the same thing for me. My kids
yeah.
sleep at my parents' home and my siblings' home, but most of the time they're going to be home with me. But
Mm,
then there's differences because my mom wasn't going to be out networking or even doing a girls' night or something, and my dad had the kids. It just wasn't something that she was going to do.
yeah.
For me, I'll take a girls trip. Even though my kids are 15 and 13, they're not little anymore, but even when they were younger, I'll take a girls trip. I'll go hang out girls night with some girlfriends for dinner. I'll go to a networking event. It may go into the evening, 10 o'clock at night. And my
Mm,
husband's here with the kids. He's taking care of the kids.
mm,
And he's fine with that. He'll get them dinner. He'll make sure they're, in showered and in the bed, or homework is done if I'm out for a long day. Homework is done and they get into bed for school the next day. That was my mom. That was her role per se when we were younger.
mm.
But for me and my husband, it's like there are no roles. It's just teamwork. We do what needs to be done. Whoever can get to it, we work it out.
That's phenomenal. Teamwork all the way. I love that. And I love that Adler shows up in that
Yeah,
way
he does.
to help.
Definitely. Hmm.
It reminds me when we had our firstborn, and you know how we are a wreck. We are nervous moms.
Yeah.
We just want to do everything perfect with this little human that God entrusted in our hands. And
Yes.
I would not do anything for the first year.
Okay.
For the first year of my son's life, I wouldn't go anywhere. I wouldn't do anything. We literally had to have people come in town just to help us because he was colicky, just to
Mhm.
help us get some sleep because he would
Wow.
not sleep, well, unless we were in the car.
Okay.
So when it got to about close to 1 years old, my husband was like, "This is it. No, that we are not doing this." He had a speaking engagement,
Okay.
Nikki. He had a speaking engagement, and he took my son without my permission.
Oh.
He took my son and drove an hour away to go to this speaking engagement. He's on stage speaking with spittle on his suit
Oh.
and this baby in his arms. And it just really like set the trajectory of our marriage and our family interaction. He was always about teamwork. He always wanted to be there for me. He always wanted to help me with the kids. He never
Love it.
looked at it as he's babysitting the kid.
Hmm. Right.
We hated when people would come over and be surprised because he's washing the dishes that he too ate off of. Like
Hmm.
they were our dishes. It's our home. It's our children. And he always made that a very inclusive experience. And I was so grateful for that. I'm still so grateful for that.
Yes.
Just having men in our lives that want to be a husband and want to be a father is
Hmm.
so valuable. It's so valuable. And I'm so happy that Adler is that type of guy and Ray
Me
Mack is
too.
that type of guy too. So, with that being said, I also want to ask you,
Mhm.
Your mom was leading and leaving a legacy, whether
Yeah.
she knew it or not. And your dad too, because
Yes.
I know your dad has done some phenomenal things. I know he's been a part of a men's group. I don't remember the name. What's the name of the group?
It was Gentleman's Plus.
Gentlemen's Plus. And
Mhm.
what did Gentlemen's Plus do?
So they did some community outreach to the younger guys.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's they're trying to do some scholarships. It was my dad and four other guys, four of his friends, well, three of his friends and the brother-in-law.
I
So yeah, that's what they were aiming. It's no longer, but it was a good couple of years that they ran that. They did some charity events. Yeah, just something for older gentlemen to get
mhm.
together and have something to do.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, and no better thing to do than to give back to the next generation.
yes.
And speaking of the next generation,
Hmm.
what advice would you give to a woman who is, desiring to be married? And
Hmm.
then also, what advice would you give to a young wife, a newlywed or an engaged woman? Because I know you have a great story around how you guys met, you and Atler, and
Hmm.
as a single woman, how you would suggest, they put themselves in position to be found by their man. But also, I know you've got great advice on, how to be married and maintain your marriage. So, what would those two things be from you?
Okay, so as far as the advice I would give to a young married woman,
Mhm.
my advice would be don't don't measure the success of your marriage based on other people, especially now because
Mm,
this generation now, social media is everything to them. Social media is the truth, what they
yeah,
think. But social media, people a lot of times just put on the glory things. They don't put on the hard times, or everything is just beautiful as
yeah,
far as what they put on social media. Don't measure your relationship by that because that's not always true. Everybody has some things that they have to overcome in marriages, any type of relationship. So don't measure the success of your marriage or relationship by what you see on social media.
mm,
And as far as somebody looking out here to be married,
mhm,
yeah, just get out and about. You can't just say, I want to be married and don't do anything and don't move around and don't go anywhere. I mean, it's rare that the man of your dreams or your soon to be husband comes to your front door. For some people, it does. It will. It has. Speaking of,
Tell
but
us about
most
who that's happened for. Tell
that's
us.
happened for my parents. My father worked for UPS, so he was a package car driver back in the 70s. So yes, he delivered a package to my mom, and that's how they met. He had her sign for a package and asked for a phone number, and the rest is history. So yeah, sometimes it may show up at your door, but that's not often. So yeah, kind of get out and network some, be out and about, get a little social, get a little active.
Yeah.
And also for young married couples, and I think for even older couples, take divorce off the table. Don't
Mm,
even make it an option. If you take it off the table, that's not going to be your first go-to when the going gets tough. It's
right.
like get through it. Marriage is getting through things, and I think that's why people celebrate. My daughter asked me before, "Mom, why do people get so happy when it's anniversary time? We were going to anniversary party. Why are people excited?" I said, "Because marriage is not easy. It's not easy. So it's like every time you celebrate a birthday, it's like, thank God we made another year, see another year of life. The same thing with marriage. Because of the things that you go through to make it every year,
Yes.
it's a blessing to stay together. And that's why people celebrate. I explained that to her because it's not always easy. It's a great thing to be
Mm.
celebrated. If you make it every year and those years start to add up, it's a blessing. And if you're having fun while you're doing it, you look back and say, wow, it's been 30 years. It don't even seem that long. So yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes, that's so true. And with the divorce rate being at almost 50%,
yeah,
like almost half of all marriages get divorced,
yeah.
that's something to celebrate when
Yes,
you're
you have
not
some.
one of those,
Yeah.
divorcees. That's something to celebrate when you're willing to put forth the work and the effort to stay together.
Yeah.
To me, it's easy to divorce. It's
Mhm.
easy to separate. Heck, it's easy to get mad.
Yeah.
But what are you going to do about it? How are you going to make the changes for the better in your relationship?
Yeah.
Are we going to self-reflect and make sure that we're not the problem versus pointing the finger at our spouse? Or are we just going to say, there's no hope because we don't want to put in the work and the effort to make it better?
And that's why I say if divorce is taken off the table, it's not an option. You'll operate in your marriage different if you think it's not an option. But I think people operate differently when they're like, well, I'll just get a divorce. I'll leave and I'll start over and I'll get somebody else. Just take that out your mind. You'll be different. You will move different in your marriage if
Yeah.
you take divorce as like that's not even something that can happen.
Take it out your mind, take it out your mouth.
Yes.
Those threats aren't good either.
Yes.
Oh, if you don't do it my way, if you don't do what I want to do, if we're not just alike, then I'm going to get a divorce. Well, why would you want to marry somebody that you're just alike? One of the things that I absolutely love to ask my guests is, how has, I should say, your husband, Adler, helped you grow personally and professionally?
Okay, so personally, he's helped me grow because he's a little bit more calmer than I am. So again, we got together when I was 20. So it's been some years. So younger, when you get a little spoiled and you have a little, I was one that had like a slicker mouth. So I'm going to say some things. I'm going to like pop off. I'm going to get mad and angry and fuss. Sometimes females do that. And by him being calm, he wouldn't get into it with me. He just kind of be quiet. So it's like after you feel stupid once you go on in arguing and get no emotion from the spouse or your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. So you shut up because you said, I'm arguing with myself. He wouldn't engage with me because if he had engaged, I'm going to get worse. So that grew me up. So I learned the type of mate that I have. So I kind of just stop arguing as much or stop fussing as much. I'm just a fussy person by nature. I fuss sometimes. So he just be like, okay. So you can't keep going back and forth with a person that's like, okay, or you need to calm down, or okay, you're making a big deal out of nothing, you're overthinking it. And it's like, maybe I am overthinking it. So he helps grow me in that way. Not even if it's something with him. It can be something at work or something with a family. It could be something with a friend. He'll be like, you're overthinking it. Like, don't put that much energy into it. And I'm just like, okay. It makes me think. Now, professionally, he helps me to grow because he allows me to do whatever it is I need to do. Even if I'm in my office and it's 10 o'clock at night, I could be up in the bed sleeping with him or, watching a movie. But if I have to work, I have to work. He allows me to have that time to tell the kids, quiet, mom is working, what you need, don't knock on the office door. You come to me, what do you want? So he helps me by supporting me to do those things and to allow me, like I said, to network, be gone sometimes because I'm at a networking event or out of town because I'm at a real estate conference or something like that. He holds it down at home. So my mind is free and I'm comfortable in knowing that he's handling things on the home front and I can be gone to do what I need to do. So he supports me, my business. And for me, that's a blessing.
That is a blessing. Okay, we're rounding out to the end of the podcast, and I just got 2 more questions.
Okay.
And they're related. So first, I'd like for you to tell us all, what would you say is the hardest thing about marriage, about being a wife or about being married?
The hardest thing about being married, I think, is if you have to look at yourself, self-reflection. You have to look and see where you may be wrong in the situation. I think that's hard sometimes for people because you feel like your way and how you feel is the right way and that it's the way something should be done. Or no, if they think a different way or they go about something a different way, that's the wrong way. So I think looking at yourself sometimes and say, okay, maybe I am wrong. or maybe I am jumping the gun or I'm blowing this thing up. I think that's the hardest thing because, like I said, once you get something in your mind, you're like, no, I know this is the way it should be done. It's
Right?
kind of hard to kind of shift your thinking.
Yeah.
But sometimes a person, there's no 100% right person at all times. I don't care who you are,
Mm.
So I think that's one of the hardest things.
All right. I
Yeah.
love that answer. Okay. So, last question.
Okay.
Tell me, what is the best thing about being married and being a wife?
Oh, for me, the best thing is I have my person. He is my person. I had a person to go through everything with me. I call him my forever date. I say, I never have to worry about having a date for any event. I have my forever date, whether it's a wedding, whether it's a couples event, whether it's whatever it is. If I want to go to a concert, if I want to go downtown for the weekend, I have my forever person because one thing about it, you can have girlfriends, yeah, but they have their lives and everybody can't do what you want to do. You can have family members, but they have their lives. If I'm like, oh, babe, I want to go to a spot for the weekend downtown, it's like, okay, I have my person. Okay, do it. I want to go to dinner at this new restaurant. I don't have to worry about finding somebody to go with if I don't want to go alone. I
Mm.
have my person. And just my person to weather the storms with, just to go through this hard um, life. Life is not easy. Life is life. Somebody to just go through it with me. If I have a bad day, I got somebody to vent to. In raising my kids, I have somebody to help me. Oh, anything, just somebody to share the good news. If I had good news for the day, he is my person. I'm
Mm.
not saying, people can't have it in family and in friends, but it's a different type of intimate level when it's your spouse.
Yeah.
I have my person. So
Oh,
that right there, that's the best thing.
I love that. I love
Yeah,
how you said that. I have my person.
yeah, it's my person.
It's a beautiful thing when you do have a spouse who you can have a great time with. You can
Yeah.
share your joys, you can share your sadness, you can
Mm-hmm.
have great times together and difficult times together and recover strong,
Yeah.
and they be your person and
Yes.
be the person that every moment of every day you can spend the rest of your life with. And
Yes.
there's nothing more beautiful than that.
I agree.
Yay. Well, thank you.
Oh,
Hey,
thank you.
so excited to have the beautiful, speaking of beautiful, Nicky
Thank
Richardson.
you.
If you are looking to sell or buy a property, you know who to call. And
Yes.
also, if you just looking for something good to eat, stop by one of the locations of Priscilla's Soul Food. Trust me, you will not be disappointed. I
That's
mean,
right.
when I go, I always have to supersize and then some.
Okay.
I'm just saying, girl, I get two desserts and everything. I am terrible with that. So thank you so much for sharing your legacy, for
Thank
sharing
you.
your family and your parents with us and your time. I really appreciate you so much. And I'm looking
Thank
forward
you.
to, us getting together with our t-shirts too. Mhm.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me, Michelle. You're doing some great work. I
Thank
appreciate it. The opportunity.
you. Awesome, awesome. And thank you guys for joining us for another episode of Wife for Life podcast. I hope you were as blessed as I was by everything Nikki had to share. And most of all, I hope that you wives will go out and lead and leave a legacy. Come on, y'all, let's do it because we got a lot of work to be done, and this world could use someone just like you.